JavaScript is often called the language of the web, but how does it actually work in your browser? When you open a web page, it's not just HTML and CSS that gets loaded. JavaScript comes in to add interactivity, making the page alive. Let's understand DOM. The DOM, Document Object Model. When your browser loads a web page, it creates something called the DOM. Think of the DOM as a tree where every HTML element, like buttons, paragraphs, images, is a branch or a node. JavaScript interacts with the DOM to manipulate these nodes, like making a button do something when you click it. This simple line tells the browser to wait until you click the button with the ID MyButton, then trigger an alert. JavaScript allows you to change or update any part of the DOM on the fly. Let's talk about the JavaScript engine. Once the browser has the DOM ready, the real magic happens in the JavaScript engine. Every browser has one. 1. Chrome uses V8, which also powers Node.js. 2. Firefox uses SpiderMonkey. 3. Safari uses JavaScript Core. When the browser encounters JavaScript code, the engine translates it into machine code the browser can run on your device. It does this through 2 phases. Phase 1. Parsing. The engine reads your JavaScript code to understand its structure. Phase 2. Execution. The engine executes the code line by line. Let's understand event loop and callbacks. JavaScript is single-threaded, meaning it can only do one thing at a time. But if that's the case, how can it handle things like animations, loading data, or multiple button clicks without freezing up? Enter the event loop. While JavaScript runs synchronously, one line at a time, it uses the event loop to handle asynchronous tasks like API requests or user interactions. Here's how it works. First is call stack. This is where JavaScript executes functions. When you call a function, it gets added to the stack. Once it finishes, it's removed. Second is web APIs. When a task like fetching data takes too long, the browser hands it off to web APIs, provided by the browser, which run independently of the main JavaScript thread. Third is callback queue. Once the web API completes its task, it adds a callback function to the queue. The event loop checks if the call stack is empty and, if so, pushes the callback to the stack. The event loop allows JavaScript to multitask without actually multitasking. It's like when you're cooking, and while you wait for the pasta to boil, you start chopping veggies. Rendering. After JavaScript modifies the DOM, the browser's rendering engine kicks in. It updates what you see on the screen without reloading the entire page. This is why modern web apps feel snappy. They only change parts of the page, not the whole thing. Little-known fact. Browsers pause JavaScript execution during heavy tasks like layout recalculations, repainting the page after DOM changes, or garbage collection, cleaning up unused memory. This is why sometimes your page might freeze for a second. Fun, right? JavaScript in the browser is like a conductor guiding an orchestra. The DOM, the JavaScript engine, the event loop, and rendering all play in harmony to make websites interactive. Catch you in the next video on Private Waddle's programming tips.